played through Pokemon Crystal quite a bit over the years, but it's been a while since I've been really captivated by it. That is, until Pokemon Crystal Clear came around. Okay, so I know I said I wasn't going to revisit the Kanto region again for a while, but this time it's both Johto and Kanto, so it's fine. Pokemon Crystal Clear was created by user ShockSlayer, and man, is it one of the greatest ROM hacks I have ever had the pleasure of playing. It's a brilliant revisitation and in many ways improvement over Pokemon Crystal version. It's really a sequel to Pokemon Crystal, while also clearly being its own thing. While also being a masterclass in how to implement insane levels of customization into a video game. It's basically an open world version of Pokemon Generation 2, where you can pick any city or town to start your journey in, along with a variety of trainer sprites and color edits to choose from, and finally, a wide selection of starter Pokemon to choose from too. Heck, you can even be a Team Rocket member with a starter Porygon if you want. There is a great variety of options. I decided to start in Azalea Town with a blue sprite that I colored green, and an Elekid. Unfortunately, my favorite evolved form of the Pokemon, Electivire, isn't available in this game since it is only Gen 1 to 2, but nonetheless, I still like Electabuzz. Things like difficulty range depending on the starter Pokemon you select, as well as which town you start off in. It's interesting to note that your player starts off in a basement apartment with a secret doorway to a cave network available basically anywhere you pick. And from there you start off attacking the Pokemon League in any order that you choose. The player can freely navigate the two regions, and the level of wild Pokemon, enemy trainer Pokemon, and gym challenges will scale depending on your progress. And you may have noticed, you can select which Pokemon from your party will follow your trainer sprite on the overworld with the select button, and this is just such a brilliant extra touch. From there, you'll realize that many roadblocks that once existed that required things like HMs or other story requirements to pass are gone, leading to basically everywhere being able to be explored anytime. There are some in-game challenges and HMs that still exist and don't scale to the current level of the player, but those are few and far between. The overall structure of Crystal Clear being so smooth and player-oriented cannot be understated. It is a super satisfying and flexible run through Kanto and Johto. After every gym is conquered, you get a phone call from the Pokemon League letting you know that the game henceforth is updated to match your new record, and even some new hints get dropped as to where the player might want to possibly go next. Eventually, you'll get access to the Magnet Train as well as ships that transport the player between regions, and each has their own benefits. Seeing as it's a sequel game, the main plot events of Pokemon Crystal have passed, meaning there's no Goldenrod Radio or Saffron City Silphco Team Rocket missions, there's no Sudowoodo or Snorlax blocking the main paths forward, though there is still a shiny Gyarados at the Lake of Rage for whatever reason, so that's fun. What's replaced in many of these sections are enemy trainers with seriously beefy teams that, like the gym challenges, scale to whatever level the player is at. And these trainers scale to make sure that they are always a challenge. Specifically, the trainer from the Silphco HQ has an absolutely bruiser team that kept me trying over and over again to beat him. Oh my god, that darn Porygon too. A fun addition is the ability to purchase property in just about any town or city you can enter, with the local real estate agent always being, for whatever reason, pro wrestling legend Macho Man Randy Savage. Why it's Macho Man, I am not exactly sure, but I'm a fan regardless. If there is someone who I can trust to sell me a reputable basement apartment property in Kanto or Johto, it's gotta be Macho Man. Especially considering there's no one else. There's other small fun things too that replace the main story sections, like this one remaining Team Rocket member still hiding out in the walls of the game corner. Poor guy, doesn't know it's over. There's small NPC moments that are fun to observe, just adding to the overall unique charm that the user ShockSlayer has crammed into Crystal Clear. Speaking of ShockSlayer, he's literally one of the final bosses of the game, and grants the user the last Easter egg item for players who decide to investigate the hidden post-game areas. There's other hidden areas that may be explored before the post-game too, with some careful navigation needed to find out where they might be. My team ended up being pretty basic, but I love them all regardless. Of course, we got my starter, Electabuzz, who came in super clutch. A Venusaur I caught early in Ilex Forest was almost always incredibly useful. A surfing Sea King, a digging Sandslash, a flying Xatu, and a burning Ninetales all rounded out a team that I took to the very limits of the game. Not just completing the Pokemon League, but other hidden bosses as well, and boy, was that surprisingly hard. ShockSlayer throws in one last curveball at the end, where he makes the Elite Four and Champion Challenge restricted in some ways. No item usage in battles, and it's all in the set format of battling, meaning you can't get any free Pokemon swaps mid-battle after taking out an enemy Pokemon. Nonetheless, I persisted, and it's really cool seeing the Elite Four for the most part being recurring characters you met throughout the playthrough. The characters in general all have fun names and designs, along with tough teams to beat. And for whatever reason, ShockSlayer really likes the Pokemon Swinub, so he makes sure he gets the player to experience a few shiny Swinub surprises throughout the campaign. Though, I won't lie, it definitely gave me my fill of the little guy by the end of it. Overall, I had a hugely fun time with Crystal Clear, despite it having some seriously challenging moments thrown my way that left me often defeated at times. The sense of discovery was crazy, despite it being virtually the same game I've played through dozens upon dozens of times. The sense of player freedom just amplifies everything, and I'm actually sure there's still plenty of hidden secrets for me to find that I still haven't found yet. And I've combed through just about everything the game has to offer. Creating a version of Johto and Kanto that exists post the reign of Gold or Red, but still has enough interesting things to do is just awesome, and makes for a relieving story. The work that happened in the original Gold Silver Crystal version ushered in an era of peace and prosperity for the regions, and exploring this saved world still has enough unique quirk to render a fun playthrough. I can't begin to recommend Crystal Clear enough. It's definitely a landmark achievement in Generation 2 ROM hacks, and you won't regret sinking the time needed in to complete it. If you're looking for a new way to revisit Crystal version, the choice is clear.